Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Delaney, I've been listening to your answers about your conduct in the St. Paul's case, and I have to tell you I'm having a hard time following what it is you're saying. You've said now several times that the school only wanted the court case to be tried in a court of law, not in the media. But your attempt to strip anonymity from Chessie was exactly an attempt to try this case in the media, right? It was an attempt to bring her name forward so everybody would know who she was. She's 16. Everybody would know exactly who she was, could look her up, could threaten her, intimidate her. I mean, this was an attempt to put her squarely into the media spotlight nationally, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to America First, the channel where we speak the truth, defend our values, and never shy away from holding the powerful accountable. If you believe in justice, accountability, and the protection of the most vulnerable among us, then this is your home. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you never miss a breakdown of what the mainstream media won't show you. Now, let's get into today's video, one that frankly left me disgusted, furious, and more determined than ever to speak up. What we just witnessed in the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing was not just a clash of political ideologies. It was a clear line drawn in the sand between those who believe in defending the voiceless and those who have spent their careers enabling institutions that silence victims. Senator Josh Hawley, God bless him, took a stand that every American should applaud. He stood up for a young sexual assault survivor who had already been dragged through hell, only to be pushed further by the very system that was supposed to protect her.
Senator, thank you for the question. I respectfully disagree that the school's intent in trying to require the lawyers to try the case in the court of law was in any way intended to intimidate any of the parties to the case.
How can you say that when you knew full well that a 16-year-old girl would have her name published, would have reporters, no doubt, in her front lawn, would have people following her around with cameras everywhere? Her family's sitting here today. They've already been through hell. Your motion was an attempt to put them through further hell in order to defend your client, right?
Senator, I was an advocate for the school.
I understand that, but as advocates, I have been too. And as advocates, we make decisions, but we're responsible for those decisions. You made a decision here. You made a decision to try to strip a young girl of her anonymity, and you effectively succeeded because you bullied her into it. So she, unwilling to be intimidated by you, went forward and revealed her own name, which took, by the way, tremendous courage. And I'd just like to honor her for her courage in doing that. But you put her to that choice. You did. That was your choice. So that's fine. You made the choice, but now you're accountable for it. So let's have some accountability here. You deliberately did this in a way that would put her at risk, and that was your intent. Have you read the letter that she submitted to this committee?
I have read the letter that was submitted to this committee.
Let me read some of it to you. She says, and I quote, "I remember so clearly reading Michael Delaney's motion from front to back when I came home from my new high school one day, processing what it meant, and then defiantly stating to my parents that after everything I'd been dragged through, from anonymous death and rape threats on the internet to the betrayal of and backlash from my closest friends at school, I wasn't going to let Michael Delaney's dirty tactics bully me, then 16 years old, into shame and silence." She goes on, and this is important. "When survivors of sexual assault, harassment, and abuse come forward to seek some semblance of justice, there is an army of attorneys with a tried and true playbook of tactics to discredit, pressure, and manipulate survivors and victims into silence." Those were the tactics that you used, Mr. Delaney.
Senator, I respectfully disagree with that characterization of the role I played as an advocate in the case. The school agreed to allow the case to proceed with anonymity. I have...
No, you didn't. You filed a motion that specifically sought to strip her anonymity. I have it right here. I've read it, and I've read your reasons for doing so. The school didn't like the time that the parents and Chessie filed their lawsuit. You complain that counsel filed the complaints minute before the clerk of the court's office closed on June 1st, 2016. Well, I'm sorry for you, but I don't understand why your inconvenience about the time should mean that this young woman should have to surrender her anonymity and have her life. She's a survivor of sexual assault, let's not forget. That already happened. You knew that. Why should she have to have her life further destroyed because you didn't like the timing of the filing?
Senator, I represented the school in that case. I did not represent the Prout family. I understood what they went through. The school felt that the request to restrict the lawyers from trying the case in the media was compatible with her desire to proceed with privacy and anonymity.
I don't understand what you're saying. You filed a motion that sought to strip her anonymity. You told the court that it should happen because you didn't like the time at which her counsel filed their complaint because it put your school at an inconvenience. They had to answer reporter questions, you said. Frankly, that seems to me like a small burden to bear after what Chessie went through. So you made the decision. You forced her to come forward. She was brave and did it, and now you're accountable for that. And quite frankly, I'm astounded you've been nominated. I can't believe we're sitting here having this conversation today. And I, for one, will not support your nomination for these reasons. People who put sexual assault victims through this kind of torture shouldn't sit on the bench. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Michael Delaney, a judicial nominee put forward by the Biden administration, was grilled, and rightfully so, about his role in the infamous St. Paul school case. For those who don't know, this was a case involving a 16-year-old girl, known publicly as Chessie, who came forward after being sexually assaulted. Now here's where it gets dark. Delaney, representing the school, filed a motion to strip this child of her anonymity. Think about that. A teenager, a survivor, and this man, who wants to be a federal judge, tried to force her name into the national spotlight so that every reporter, every gossip blog, and every predator could know exactly who she was. What kind of man does that? What kind of man fights not for justice, not for truth, but to protect a wealthy elite institution and throw a child to the wolves to preserve a reputation? Delaney sat there trying to spin it like he was just doing his job. But Senator Hawley wasn't having it. He cut right through the legal doublespeak. He read from Chessie's own letter to the committee, where she described in her own words the dirty tactics used to bully her into silence. Her words were haunting. She spoke of online rape and death threats. She spoke of betrayal from her own peers. And she called out Delaney by name. This was not a case of a lawyer doing his job. This was a clear, deliberate choice to crush a survivor beneath the weight of a powerful institution. The motion Delaney filed was not about legal process. It was about silencing the weak to protect the strong. That's not justice. That's cowardice. And yet this administration wants to reward that behavior with a lifetime appointment on the bench? Let me be clear. This is what the left has become. They claim to champion women's rights. They claim to care about sexual assault survivors. But when it's politically inconvenient, when it threatens their donor class or the elite schools their kids attend, they throw those values in the trash. This administration is not nominating judges based on character or principle. They're nominating loyalists who protect the institutions that fuel the leftist machine. Senator Hawley said what needed to be said. He would not support Delaney's nomination. And neither should anyone who still believes in right and wrong. The fact that Delaney even made it this far in the process is proof that something is broken, deeply broken, in our system. This isn't about left or right anymore. This is about whether we, as a nation, are willing to stand up for the innocent and hold the powerful accountable. If we let people like Delaney sit on the bench, we're sending a message to every survivor. You don't matter. Your trauma can be brushed aside. Your pain is just a legal inconvenience. Well, not on our watch. Here at America First, we will never stay silent while our justice system is hijacked by political cronies and legal bullies. We will always stand for truth for victims and for the values this country was built on. So if you're sick and tired of seeing predators protected and victims punished, if you're ready to take a stand for real accountability, join us. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this message. Let's make it loud and clear. Michael Delaney does not belong on the bench, and we will never stop fighting for the truth. Thanks for watching. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and always put America first.